The Digimon card game is my favorite TCG. Whether it's running a deck of your favorite character, playing the best deck in the room to try and win, or just simply throwing some bulk together to have fun, there is something here for everybody. I myself somewhat competitively play, and after I qualified for nationals at a store regional, I figured I'd take the rest of the year to do a little challenge. I'll be starting out with 2 copies of the Fabled Waltz structure deck, and each week give myself $25 to spend on sealed product to hopefully make my deck better. No purchasing singles, no trading cards with friends, just me and hopefully some good cards that I need. Let's see just how far this deck can take me. Welcome to Sealed Only Digimon. And welcome to another video of Digimon Sealed Only. Last time, if you guys missed it, our win streak was very quickly dashed in round 1, unfortunately. But this week we are back again to try and open some more pieces for our Machinedramon deck. If we open up any pieces for Chimera or any pieces for puppets along the way, I won't be disappointed, but that's kind of where everything is focused at. So what do I have except more copies, more packs of EX9? EX10 is out, and I'm not opening it for the series because it doesn't do anything for us, unfortunately. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. I really am running out of things to talk to in these set openings, just because I've gotten almost everything that I want. I really am just looking for Machinedramon, Chimeramon, and maybe another copy of Analog Youth. Though in this box, I believe this is the same box that we opened last time. 12 packs of $50, of course. This is the same box we opened last time, and I think that we're guaranteed 1 secret / alt art. We're guaranteed 1 foil, and I think we have 3 supers that we're looking for. So Kaguyas would be great as the super. Everything else I'm kind of in between on. Don't really need much of anything else. Everything that we do have, like every card that we open at this point that's not a super, we have a playset of. We're getting to the point where we might have 2 playsets of them, in fact. So if I pull a color border Digimon, though, I will pop off. I really love that card so much. It is my favorite card in in all of TM, to be honest. So when we go to play next, we should actually have access to the new entry pack, which does give us access to not only insane synthesis monster, but it also gives us access to the DM Tyrannomon. So not sure how good those are, but we'll have to take a look at it. The Tyrannomon itself, I don't think will find a home. I think it's version 1. So version 1 finding a home, it's a little bit more awkward because the 2 best ways to play machines are version 5 and version 2. But ooh, there's our other color border. It's an Elecmon. This is like one of my least favorites of the line. Just a -3k to security is like really irrelevant a lot of the time. And like if you're on a 4, it's kind of detrimental because you want them to die a lot of the time. And I believe he's like Ver 3. No, he's Ver 2. Okay, so if we do end up pivoting to Ver 2 machines, it is something that we do get to consider playing. Monochrome, Mame. Oh! Sure. All right, our second alt art Machinedramon. Alrighty, well, I got what I came for. I mean, there's only so much I can talk about at this point, right? We all know how good this card is. There's nothing else that we're wanting out of this set, and so we are now at the fun point of EX9, where we are just going to be opening for 1 Analog Youth and 1 Machinedramon, and then I don't know, dude. The series just might be over. I'm trying to wait for another wave of store regionals to pop up, but they haven't said anything quite yet about them, as far as I'm aware. So I could be wrong. Another Alterus, cool. It actually might be worth in our deck to add an Alterus, just because plus 4k during our turn is really strong. And so putting that on a machine might not be bad for us. Yeah. Elecmon, Honeymon. Card I'm going to replace for the machines, probably another Raidenmon. I might replace an Analog Man, actually, since I'm not playing these guys as often as I thought I was going to be whenever I first made the choice, you know. It is a lot of just evolving into them off of my Pagumon, and so I want to make sure I have access to evolve into them. And so I don't think Analog Man is as good. He's nice as a setter, but there are other setters I could play if I really wanted it. Like, he's fine. Especially playing at my 5s for like 4 cost is really strong, but I don't know. We'll see. I'll think about it some more. It'll probably be an analog man because we're on 3 of him right now, so going down to 2 copies of him would be good for us, but we shall see. We are on our last 4 packs. We should still be owed like 1 or 2 more supers. 2 or 3, honestly. So we should be having a couple of hits of supers in here. You know, another Kukuyamon won't be too bad. Another Metal Tyranno would be ideal, to be honest. Don't have any of him. I only have 1 of him. And if I'm on for 5, I would really love to have a second one, to be honest. Tusk, Pagu, Tomu, Soundbird, Giza, Kokeshi, Kuwaga, Devi, Airdramon, Edamon, and a Blitzcrank Ace. Wow, my number was off for supers. The half of this box, you know, I can't complain because I do have another Machinedramon, but shout outs to my friend Craig who bought his singles, which is the smart thing to do always whenever you're planning on buying cards for card gaming. Oh, hey, Cernumon. But it is funny because he went out of way to buy his machine alt arts, and I've already opened 2. So I don't think we're getting much in this last pack, so we're kind of just going to blitz through it really, really quick. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where the opening was lackluster, but I can't complain that much, right? We got exactly what we needed. I am surprised. I thought we were owed 1 more super out of this side, but I mean, we got ourselves another Machinedramon. God, this alt is just so good. I love this alt art of this card. So let's go ahead and swap that card out. Oh my goodness, shoutouts to me opening this. I forgot I had this. The last one will be opening of 2025 Volume 3, and we get another Dimentramon. Shoutouts to me putting him in the deck box for for the event now, so that way I know easily what to just go and grab. Yeah, I think we're gonna start with an analog man. I don't think I want to try version 2 machines quite yet. Vademon's incredibly powerful, and I recognize that, but X-Tyrannomon's really doing a lot of the heavy lifting for our series right now, and I want to keep him alive. I want to keep that available. So, -1 Analog Man, +1 Machinedramon. If you guys want to see a full deck list, let me know in the comments, and I can compile one and put a link for it in the description. So, yeah, with that, I will see you guys with the game reviews. I actually have a new way to record them, so the series will look a little bit different than it has, and I apologize for that. I would prefer that they stay exactly as they are, but, you know, just making sure that I have the ability to record when we have a bunch of people in the shop is important. So I'm going to have a front-facing camera, essentially. I have a tripod right here in front of me that you guys are watching this recording on. It's a lot more stable than the gooseneck I had been using, and it'll allow me to kind of record wherever I am. I've been having it in front of me this whole time. I've only knocked it 1 time, so cool. All right, I'll see you guys in the game reviews. And welcome back. Just as a heads up, I was stuck in bed with a migraine for the entirety for 4 days, and one of those days included going to my local game store normally. I went ahead and recorded here at my local game store I go to on Thursdays, just for a little bit of making sure I can get this video out, right? Everybody there was cool with me recording. There was only 3 of us, so we just did a round robin. There was no prizing. We didn't make a tournament just since there was only 3. Usually we run a tournament if there's 4 of us, but only 3. We decided to just let it run all natural. Before we get into the games, I did want to mention that I do have 2 different ways of recording in this one. First, one of them is a tripod that I have set up to where it is basically at eye level for me and it's directly in front of the camera, and that's what you'll be seeing in game 1. And then the tripod I actually bought ended up being tall enough that I can put it overhead. So definitely let me know in the comments which of those 2 that you guys prefer. I have my own preference, but I do want to hear what you guys think about maybe pros and cons of both. So with that, let's go ahead and jump on over into the games, shall we? And here we are with game 1. My first opponent of the day is going to be on Gaiomon. Here I am fussing with the camera a little bit. But I am going to go ahead and start with a Giza in the back, training, and then put an analog man here. In my hand, we see I have File Island, we have Meat, we do have one of the level 5s. My opponent goes up the perfect stack. They go Agu, Agu X, Greymon Virus X, plays a Searcher, Agu picks up a Rise Greymon. I go ahead and unsuspend my Gizamon. I'm looking at my hand. I don't have a level 4, so I go ahead and Meat to see if I can hit one. I training on the Giza, go ahead and Digivolve into Digimon, activate its own Digivolving effect, tucking another Digimon card from my hand underneath it. My opponent does have everything they need, but they go ahead and Digivolve their Agumon they left out front into an Agu X, searching a couple cards, picking up a Gaiomon, swinging at my security, and surviving. They go ahead and play yet another Agumon, revealing the top 4. Grabbing a structure deck 1 Greymon for that sec +1. I go ahead and unsuspend and draw. I play an Analog Youth for 3. I use Meat, tuck a card underneath, Digivolve into Machinedramon for a cost reduction of 2. I go ahead and place another card from a Digimon card from my trash underneath. That was so politely hit, and then I use Analog Youth to gain a memory and draw a card. I go ahead and attack in. I unfortunately just have so many cards in my sources, but none of them actually let me survive. I do hit another 7. I hit something higher than 7k in my security. Looking at my hand, I have 2 machines, Datamon, Raremon, and SP Metal Gray. So I do technically have a line up, though it is a little bit clunky. My opponent goes ahead and promotes. They Digivolve into a Rise Gray. Then they go ahead and Digivolve into Gaiomon from BT9. They go ahead and Blitz. They have all of my security is going to be gnawed through here. And they have Reboot and Blitz. Okay, so I now have to think really hard. We'll go ahead and start of main on the Analog Youth here. Tuck card underneath, get in the and draw a card. Just looking for something to out this. There's not like a great way that I can think of even now. I go ahead and Digivolve into Raremon for 2. I use Meat, and I pull into X Tyrannomon, which is exactly what I needed. So I'm able to go into it for free off of the Meat. I go ahead and trash a card to return it to the hand. My opponent's like, oh, I'll use the protection. And I remind him that he can't do that. He doesn't have X antibody, and that's the downside of Virus X, right? If you don't have exactly X antibody in sources, you just don't have enough. The card I tucked underneath with Meat actually was a Machinedramon, so I'm able to attack with Pagumon, or attack with X Tyrannomon, trash my Pagumon, and actually go for a check. But I hit a Gaiomon, so I have to trash the Sec +1 source, and I have to trash another face-down source. But a Gazimon Search puts another card underneath my Machinedramon, and I get to go ahead and go put another Gazi underneath. I'm feeling like a pretty good position. My opponent has to build a stack in the back, because that's what Greymon is best known for, right? Or Gaiomon in this case. So my opponent is just trying to figure out what they're going to do. So they go ahead and offense training, putting me to 3. I go ahead and draw a promote. Start of main, put a card underneath Machinedramon, swing with Gazi. It survives, which makes this play really a lot nicer almost. But I do have to think about it. If Gazi had died, it would have been a little bit easier for me to just commit to something else, but I go ahead and go into an Andromon just because I know that I'll have a reboot, so I'll be able to block whatever he's about to attack with. And then I go ahead and decide that, you know, maybe I should... I am running out of cards in my deck very fast. That is one downside about DM machines. But I go ahead and go into a Raremon. Raremon effect will allow me to go ahead and place 3 for 5s underneath. You guys know the drill. Go into an X Tyrannomon. No effect. Everything has reboot. So here I do have a big 12k blocker in my 12k blocker in my Machinedramon, as well as X Tyrannomon itself is a Blast-Ace target off of the Raidenmon Ace that I have in my hand. My opponent goes ahead and goes through everything. They go ahead and try to use both offense ratings. I tell them they can only use 1. They go ahead and use 1 to go into the Metal Greymon. And then they use another one to go into Gaiomon. Gaiomon will de-Digivolve, and then they will Blitz for game. But this is where Raidenmon Ace comes in clutch. Raidenmon Ace will unsuspend and suspend nothing. I'll go ahead and suspend the Raidenmon Ace for blocker to de-Digivolve, and then be 12k over the guy. Even if I had overflowed here, it would have been fine, but we go ahead and take game 1 off of that play because I'll just go to my main phase and attack. And for game 2, my opponent elects to go first. I look at my hand. I look at my hand and debate mulliganing it. I have 2 level 5s that I can play off of each other. I have 2 level 3s and a level 4. Just a little bit more action, and maybe Meat or an Analog Youth would have been really nice. I go ahead and go into Giza in the back. No level 4 is tough because it just means that my play here is a little bit awkward. But I go ahead and Metal Mame here to discard the Andromon and then place it underneath for a cost of 5 to bottom deck the Agumon, just to give my opponent less resources to have. Gives me some early aggression, all that fun stuff. My opponent reveals Agumon off the top 4, grabs a Greymon. I go attack with Metal Mame. Metal Mame will be deleted by the Dark Gaia Force of my opponent's security. I go ahead and training off of the Giza, and then I go ahead and go to a Raremon. This is a little bit of a greedy play. I don't know why I promoted it out, but I just assumed that my opponent didn't have much to do, and thankfully he did it. He offense trainings and picks up a card. I didn't see what it was because my hand was in the way. I go BO into training. I'm now looking at my hand. X Tyrannomon I can Digivolve for a cost of 1 into. So that's exactly what I do. X Tyrannomon, I'll go ahead and attack in. It will Fortitude back out, and then I'll go into a Machinedramon on top of it. Since I didn't really have anything else to do, this does allow me to have a Machinedramon with blocker off of the Andromon source with a face down source to trash it in case it does get deleted, in case he is able to get bigger than me. But again, you know, Gaiamon's really good at just being able to attack in. He de-digivolves me, so I can't block anymore. File Island will allow me to play out Gazi. I will put a X-Tyrannomon underneath the Gazi and grab something else to hand. This is a really weird play that I chose to do, and I'm not sure why I chose to do it at all this way. This turn, I just kind of fumble out really poorly. There is not a clean way for me to out anything. My best play here would have just been to attack out, but I end up training on the Biomon. And then I go ahead and Digivolve the Gazi into a Tuskmon to attempt to force my opponent maybe to block something, but I'll go Raremon. And then I realize that the X-Tyrannomon that I thought that I had is underneath the Gazimon. I should have attacked with the Tuskmon to force out a block or hopefully die in security. That had an X-Tyrannomon, and then my Raremon effect could have worked because I know my opponent's stack doesn't have protection. So here I am bluffing on an ace target as best as I can. My opponent attacks into the Biomon and does a no piercing check, but they do attack over Bio, so I can't Digivolve into the machines that I have in my trash, which is really bad for me. I look at my hand. I'll show you guys my hand. There's not a ton going on there. I'm at 2 memory, so there's just not enough memory for me to be able to properly out this board as well as I can. I attack with Tuskmon for 1 check. I hit a tie. I attack with Andromon for a check. Andromon dies. A Raidamon Ace goes into trash, which I'm only on 2 now, so that's detrimental to me. I go ahead and play out Raremon. And now, since I have the thing, I am able to go into Raremon. I'm able to gain a memory off of an Analog Youth I have lying around. And I go ahead and suspend it, and I attempt to remove it, but I can't because it doesn't have enough, because I don't have enough stuff. And then I go ahead and I attack into the Analog Youth, but the tie had given it blocker. I attack into the Gaiomon. I was planning on attacking into it and then fortituding, and then I had an Analog Man in the back, supposedly, that I would have been able to play out and do some stuff with. That would have been best. So I go ahead and unsuspend. I have 2 guys here, and I'm really hoping that my opponent just like overthinks things, attempts to delete me before they go to attack, because I do not have the ace in hand. That is a far cry from that, but we will just have to see. My opponent's debating. They attack with the Gaiomon. I let that go through. I think even if I have the ace, I always let that go through here. I guess technically not, but yeah, then they attack with Rise Gray, and then that's game. We go to game 3 after I kind of fumbled through it. I go Analog Youth after digivolving to a BO in the back, and then training it. My opponent goes ahead, digivolves into an Audio in the back, and then plays a BT1 tie. My Analog Youth goes ahead and places a card underneath the Biomon to gain me an extra memory and draw me a card. And then I go ahead and digivolve into Digimon to draw an extra card. I attack in and hit a BT13, BT14 tie, BT12, whatever BT tie that is. And then I go ahead and play another Analog Youth. So I have 2 Analog Youths at start of main. I go ahead and tuck 1 card underneath to gain 2 and draw 2, just because I don't have anything I really want to commit to. I go ahead and Digivol. I go ahead and off the Digimon, I draw a card. I go ahead and place X-Tyrannomon underneath and then trash it for the Pogumon effect and Digivolve into it for free just to have a little bit of a bigger body. I go ahead and grab an Analog Man off of it, and then I go ahead and play said Analog Man. So I am matching my opponent's setter for setter. My opponent does have 2 ties because I hit another one off of security. They Digivolve into Rise Gray here. They use the training to make the cost 1 and then gain 2 off of their ties. They go ahead and go into the new BT22 Gaiomon, are going to raid into my X-Tyrannomon. Here, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll be able to like do something. And then I remembered that I can't because he's so large. But he hits my 3rd Analog Youth and hits a Machinedramon in my security, so I am able to kind of do something. He goes ahead and activates Final Zubagon Punch to pass turn, just not having anything else better to do, realizing after that he does have Reboot already natively on that guy. I'm going ahead activating all my Analog Youths one at a time here, just to try and dig as deep as I can. I Digivolve it for free into a Raremon using a Meat. And then I'm debating what to do from here. I do have another X-Tyrannomon, which is presumably what I'm going to do, but I do not. I go into Machinedramon just to be able to have that insecurity, right? So we go ahead and attack with Machinedramon, trash a bottom card, Digivolve into Machinedramon. Machinedramon effect, go into another X-Tyrannomon I have in trash to suspend it. And then I had thought it was a when attacking that I would have been able to remove the source for protection, but I could not actually. I go ahead and Machinedramon. I don't know why I trashed 2 more sources. That's peculiar. But I go ahead and attack in for one more check. I shouldn't have, because I deleted the X-Tyrannomon, I shouldn't have trashed 2 sources. I think I was just a little bit in the heat of the moment. I go ahead and play X-Tyrannomon, and then I use the Analog Man effect that I have to put a source underneath it, and then immediately trash it, putting an Andromon source in my trash for next turn. I give my opponent 6 memory, but I know that Greymon decks in particular are stack decks, so I'm not scared about giving him 6 memory, because yeah, he'll build up a really big stack for next turn, but there's not going to be a turn. There's not going to be a next turn if I can help it. My opponent goes into Agumon and then goes into Agubond. And then they go ahead and delete my Machinedramon. And then I go, okay, cool. D-Digivolve 1 and then gain 5. Start of turn, I gain 3 memory off of my analog use, putting 1 card underneath my X-Tyrannomon. I'm debating now if I want to do any more because it is still my start of main. I do go ahead and decide to add more because there is the Machinedramon I ripped into. I want to make sure it's protected. When Digivolving, I'm going to add Megadramon to delete that. I'm going to attack, delete myself to unsuspend, and then swing for game. We go ahead and take set 1 of the day, 2-1. And I probably could have taken it 2-0 if I didn't mess up as majorly as I did with that X-Tyrannomon play in game 2. So speaking of game 2, so let's go ahead and go into round 2. In round 2, we are up against Deusmon. I go ahead, my opponent digivolves into a Kabemon in the back, and then plays out the new Tamer. I go ahead and patch Pagu, go into a Bio, I meet, and then I go digivolve to a Tuskmon. So I'm at 1 security. Both of my raid sources used pretty early. Maybe would have been better to go into something else since I knew I had the Tuskmon in hand, but life is a little bit weird like that, right? My opponent's asking what my effects do. I tell him I have raid sources. My opponent plays a setter out. I go ahead and promote Tuskmon. Go ahead and activate File Island to give my Tuskmon a little bit more secure, a little bit more DP. I go ahead and place a source underneath it just to make him larger, but it doesn't matter. I hit a Warudumon in security. I'm now debating what I want to do after that because I don't have a ton, and I just end up open passing. There's not a great play that I have. I just don't really have a ton going on. My opponent activates Godgrade Unleashed and then Digivolves in the back for 2. I go ahead and do a Bio in the back and training, and I Digivolve the Bio into a Raremon for 2 to pass my opponent to 3, just because I really am just kind of missing out on things to do. My opponent activates App-Link, they grab Warudu and trash the rest, putting themselves to 0 memory. But with me having raid is kind of interesting. So my opponent digivolves into Warudu. They go ahead and link the Satsukimon in their sources. They activate the Haru to draw a card. And then from here, they are debating what to do. They end up doing nothing else. So I go ahead and digivolve using Meat. I'm trying to figure out what card I want to put underneath. I go ahead and put a card underneath, and then I activate or I Digivolve into X-Tyrannomon, and then go into a Machinedramon. Machinedramon's going to add Megadramon to it, and then I choose not to do extra checks because there's just like it ends up accelerating my timer by 1, but I don't want this Machinedramon to go down because my hand kind of looks bad otherwise. My opponent digivolves into a Mirrormon in the back and kind of starts looking at their trash to figure out what they can do. They do have 4 memory, so they do have quite a bit of memory to work with. But, you know, Atmon are really weird, and you feel like I keep equating with the EX3 Omni in that you just have to have all your pieces. My opponent plays Warudu for 8. Attaches a Kabemon. That means that my Machinedramon cannot unsuspend during my next unsuspend phase, and then they use their app link effect to link Comet to itself. So now if I attempt to remove it, like I'm going to do here, they trash a card, and then they use Godgrade, I believe. We catch it a little bit late. They use Godgrade to reattach Cometdramon to give itself more protection, which is really solid. I go ahead and play Gazi. Gazi effect searches 3, puts a card underneath the Machinedramon to give it more protection, and yeah. My opponent goes ahead and promotes their Mirrormon. They play 2 more Godgrade Unleashed. Just kind of looking at cards in hand, stuff to do, all that fun stuff. And they're just missing a Deusmon. If they had a Deusmon, it probably would have come out by now. There's an ongoing joke from All Night about like not knowing how to attack with a single source, like an Appmon that only has 1 linked card. So my opponent attacks with Orudu, hits a Metal Gray, which is honestly best case scenario for me, right? Being able to have Sec +1 in rotation is very, very strong. My opponent goes ahead and plays an app link, picks up a card, and trashes 2 more. I unsuspend Machine because the Warudu, since it got linked, went ahead and targeted the Metal Ball Man on my last turn. I go ahead and debate if I want to promote. I chose not to. I go ahead and training in the back. I attack with Gazi into security. I attack with Metal Gray or Machinedramon. Machinedramon's I do end up choosing Metal Gray. Metal Gray will go ahead and delete the thing, and then I will delete my lowest level to unsuspend and swing for game. We do go ahead and take game 1 thanks to Metal Mamemon. My opponent said that's like they just had to hope that they drew into Deusmon at some point to be able to properly deal with Machinedramon, but they just didn't, and that's why they took care of Metal Mamemon as they did. My opponent makes me go first. I go ahead and Digivolve into a Gizabot in the back, and I go and play an Analog Youth, or Analog Man. I put it, Digivolves into a Kabemon, goes into Satsuki, plays a God Grade, and then play a God Grade Unleashed, and then an App Link, picking up some cards, trashing a Comet, notably. I attack with Giza, and then hit a Deusmon. I go ahead and play a Meat for 2, because I have a DM Trainer, or Tamer, in Analog Man, and then I play an Analog Youth to end turn. This setup is pretty solid if I do have follow-up in hand, which I think that I do, because I probably wouldn't have gone for this play. My opponent Digivolves into Globemon, linking the Dogotchmon from their hand to do 2 checks pretty early on, and doing some fun finagling with their links here. App Link lets them link a new card, and then when linked off of the professor-looking Digimon guy, they can link a linked card to become immune to Digivolve effects, which they know that I am particularly good at. I play a Gizamon. I go ahead and Digivolve into Devydramon, and then I go into X-Tyrannomon for free. I go ahead and Digivolve in the back into another Devydramon. I use Analog Youth to unsuspend X-Tyrannomon because it has a source, and this is pretty good for me. My opponent plays a Kabemon, discarding a card to draw 2. Or not Kabe, that's a MCmon. I unsuspend, I draw, I promote. Devydramon will let me go up to 4 memory thanks to the source. I go ahead and when Digivolving, I put an Andromon underneath. I end up not putting a card underneath, but I do add the Andromon. Devydramon will add a card to draw a card and then trash a card, and then go into X-Tyrannomon for free, and then I'll play another Analog Youth to be set up really well for next turn. This is a Threaten of an Ace. This is a block on Machinedramon, and this is a little bit of recursion between the Analog Man and the 2 Analog Youths. Means that anything that I play ends up being cost reduction of 3. So my opponent is debating because they've been outraced just a little bit this set. That is kind of the biggest problem with that mon, always and forever. They promote their Kabemon. They link Copipe for 1. They attack, and then I choose to block, but when attacking, link it to pick up the Deusmon that was in their trash. And are looking at their trash because I think that they're playing a Yujin, that they play Warudu for 8. Warudu is going to link a level 4. They're going to trash it so that they can't be Digivolved. They're going to make it to where my Machinedramon can't unsuspend. They're going to link Comet, activate Yujin to draw a card, and be able to app fuse. They app fuse into Deus. We're playing with Proxies. My opponent just didn't have the last one in, whatever. It was 3 of us. It's fine. If you're really worried about it, I had 2 Deusmon on me. I just forgot to give him before the game started. My opponent links Comet from sources, and then they link Globemon from hand to be able to be really large, pop my X-Tyrannomon, and then I go ahead and Fortitude it back and suspend my opponent's body. But Machinedramon can't unsuspend. I go ahead and add 1 card underneath X-Tyrannomon for the Sec +1. I go ahead and play out Metal Wabemon, attempting to trash his final card, and because of the weird thing that we had been doing for everything, I had not realized that that was the source, but I go ahead and do the same thing. I Digivolve X-Tyrannomon to a Machinedramon in my hand to do effectively the same thing, and then unsuspend, putting my opponent to 1 memory to 2 with Yujin. And that's just a game. My opponent, I have 2 Machinedramons plus a Tuskmon in rotation, and my opponent doesn't have anything to do. And so we win that set 2-0. Feeling pretty good, obviously, about winning 2 more. No prizing this week, no entry packs, unfortunately, because there was only 2 of us, but what can you do, right? Also, there is a tentative end date for this series. I believe that there is another, at my local game store normally, Grandmaster Games in Indianapolis, there's going to be a store regional in about a month, little bit less than a month. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that store regional signups were going up at all, so I forgot to sign up. What that means is that I get to talk to my LGS owner the next time I go in and be like, hey, making sure that there is going to be day of entry. If there are day of entry, I'll be trying to record as many games as I can to have a final, episode. Let me know in the comments what you guys would prefer to see. If you'd prefer to see a secondary video in between, or if you would like me to just open effectively $100 worth of product in one video. I'm leaning towards having a stepping stone video because I do kind of want to try out a new deck just for fun before we go ahead and bring Machinedramon to a store regional. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure you like the video and subscribe, leave a comment, all that fun algorithm stuff. All of that really does help and mean a lot. And until next time, take it easy. See ya.